Well, joining us live from Sydney now is the Minister of Emergency Services, that is Steph Cooke, of the state level. Steph, thanks for your time this morning, appreciate that. So this natural disaster declaration that came from the federal government this morning, it allows funding. Much of that detail will be released later on, but how is it going to work with you? How is it going to work with the states?
Well, thank you and good morning. It's good to be with you. Yes, we have seen overnight the declaration, the natural disaster declaration declared for 23 local government areas impacted by this terrible weather event that we're currently experiencing. It's a strong signal to communities that the New South Wales government and the federal government will be working with communities to support them through the immediate and then medium and long-term recovery through this event and beyond. I've had the opportunity to brief the Federal Minister Murray Watt from here at CEOC yesterday, and we have a common goal of ensuring that people are looked after both in the emergency, in the immediate aftermath through that initial recovery phase, and then into the long term and those discussions around mitigation and betterment. And so these are ongoing conversations that we're having. But the message to communities this morning is, yes, those natural disaster declarations have been jointly announced by the federal government and the New South Wales government. We will now look to unlock further support for those communities. We will stay with communities on this journey. We certainly acknowledge that they have been through a hell of a time over the last 18 months. Many of these communities, as has been stated over and over, have experienced their fourth major flooding event in the last 18 months. It's very tiring, they're very weary, it's understandable, and we will do everything that we can as a government to support people get back on their feet as quickly as possible and make good decisions about their future.
So these payments that will come now, how much are they worth and how much will the state be kicking in?
So in the initial instance, the support that's on offer, the disaster relief payments are entirely the remit of the federal government, and we will see further information and details released on that later today. From a state perspective, we are currently working with the federal government. Our agencies are working very closely together to frame up the release of additional support packages, similar to what we experienced earlier this year in the Northern Rivers region and across those 60 local government areas that were impacted by the February, March and April floods. We will start to see additional support packages announced, which are jointly funded, and that includes support for small business, for primary producers, for not-for-profits, and for local governments, of course, to ensure that once they have identified the damage to their local infrastructure, that we are able to support them to restore that infrastructure as well. So these are live discussions that are occurring. The first step, of course, is always to make those natural disaster declarations for the impacted communities. That has occurred overnight, and so we are now well on our way to ensuring that communities can move into the recovery phase as quickly as possible once those floodwaters recede.
You got some 40,000 people without power this morning at last check. With no internet access, how will they access those payments?
Well, it is, look, it's a difficult time. We're still really very much in the emergency response phase, and whilst we will see the easing of rain today, the emergency itself is not over when we've still got close to 50,000 people that are the subject of evacuation orders and warnings across the Sydney metropolitan area today. So when it comes to the restoration of power, we really have to be patient. We have to wait for the emergency to pass before power can be restored, and then people will be able to access power, access their internet, and start to get on with accessing that support that they are entitled to.
Given we are here again with so much rainfall, is it time to commit to raising the Warragamba Dam wall?
Well, once again, it's a big and complex project. The New South Wales government has acknowledged well and truly that the raising of that wall by, in the vicinity of 14 metres is an important project in terms of mitigation for the communities of the Hawkesbury-Nepean Valley. We are awaiting the outcome of planning approvals before committing on the investment side of that project. It is big and complex. That dam was never built for mitigation purposes. And so there are several planning approvals that need to be gone through, both at a state and a federal level. Minister Ayres has led from the front on this project for many years now, and I know that he is working very closely both with other agencies in the New South Wales government. He has reached out to the former and now current federal governments to ensure that when the investment is required, that we are both able to commit to such a project.
Yeah, but you just had a record spending budget with no extra money committed to it. So are you really that serious about it?
Well, there are, as I've indicated, there are multiple planning approvals that need to be gone through first. It is a complex project, but what I would say, as I've said over and over in the past, well, yes, but it's not that we're backing away from the project at all. And in fact, what I've said personally over the past few days is that every time one of these disaster hits, we spend 97 cents in every dollar on recovery versus 3% in mitigation, and we need to change that. We need to build betterment and mitigation into our infrastructure projects going forward, because we need to think about our communities going forward because they have just experienced, in this case, four major floods in 18 months, and we could very well see this continue into the future.
Emergency Services Minister Steph Cooke, thank you for your time this morning on a busy morning. Thanks for your time with us. Talk to you again soon.